Good morning, Fantasy Holics. Mr. Review here with you, leading you up to about 1 o'clock for the last minute active, inactive updates. Just got word that Justin Herbert is active and expected to start versus the Steelers today. Jordan Love was ruled inactive and will not be playing in the Malik Willis revenge game against the Titans. Taysom Hill was ruled out earlier this morning, and Michael Pittman is healthy and expected to play. If you got any start sit questions or comments or concerns, shoot them this way and we'll get them answered um, through here and through the Fantasy Holics Facebook page. A lot of operators standing by to answer your questions. We've lost a lot of good men already through 2 weeks. A lot of us are starting players that we didn't even know their name of about this time 2 weeks ago. And first question is from Zach. He asks, Neighbors or Moss PPR? That's a tough one. It seems like Malik Neighbors is already quarterback proof, and I Daniel Jones hook has to be coming soon. I want to see Tommy DeVito throwing passes to Malik Neighbors. I'm maybe just buying into a little bit of fluke success from last year. I think DeVito will help Neighbors even more. Um, Full PPR. Neighbors is just such an electric talent. The Bengals might not need to even run on Washington that much, so I think Neighbors is a locked and loaded start, no matter what team he's against, no matter who his quarterback is. Give me Neighbors. He's exciting. He's a lot of fun to watch, as we all figured he would be. Um, I wasn't expecting much from Neighbors last week, and he had 10 catches for 127 yards, but that was against Washington as well. I just don't think Moss will have much to do on Monday night. Mattia asks, I'm kind of thinking about benching Diggs, who plays the Vikings, playing Judy since he's playing the Giants. That's a tough one. I think we're far enough removed to call this a Stephon Diggs revenge game, but I could do some quick research. Has Diggs played the Vikings since he's left? Surely he has. I don't just Deshaun Watson has looked so bad, and Jerry Judy. Oh man, I just don't trust really anything in that passing. The Browns passing game. I think Diggs caught 2 touchdowns week one. I would, I'd still start Diggs. Um, I think Jerry Judy's had 8 touchdowns since 2020. And Deshaun Watson just looks so bad. If Jameis Winston was starting this game, I would probably lean Judy, but I'm going to leave Diggs, and I trust the talent of Diggs over Judy. I trust CJ Stroud over Deshaun Watson, even though that is a tough matchup against the Vikings. Vikings big comeback in that game. Yeah, he had. I'm just brain fart trying to process a lot here. Um, Probably wrote an article about revenge game Diggs in Buffalo. Joshua Palmer is out for the Chargers. It's gonna be a very low scoring game. Chargers, Steelers. Oh, that's right, the Jefferson catch game. That's one of the best catches when he just ripped it away literally from the defender's hands. That was an amazing catch. You're right. You're right. I should remember that, but Had a lot of running back questions all week. People that are torn between Devin Singletary, Cam Akers, Carson Steele. Let's look at the lowest rushing attempts allowed and the most rushing attempts allowed through 2 weeks in one game. The Colts have been run on 93 times. The Jets have been run on 81 times. They played one more game. Panthers have been run on 81 times. Falcons 78 and Bengals 71. I love Brian Robinson this week. I think he's going to get a lot of touches, get more points in a probably closer game than people might be thinking, but I think the Bengals still prevail. The 5 teams rushed on the lowest. The 49ers have been run on 43 times, the Saints 41, the Steelers 41. I think J.K. Dobbins slows down today, and he's looked great. I think he's played 2 less than stellar defenses and has led to all of those yards. He's had a couple big runs that are inflating those stats. The Chargers have been run on 40 times and the Ravens only 37 times. The Eagles have allowed 6.4 yards per carry. That's most in the league. I think the Josh Jacobs had a lot of rushing against them in Brazil. The Raiders have been run on. Raiders have 6.1 yards per carry. Rams 5.5. The Giants 5.3 yards per carry. A lot of people were asking about Jerome Ford as well. The Colts have allowed 5.1 yards per carry. Those are the most allowed. The 5 fewest allowed. Steelers 3.7 yards. Cardinals surprisingly 3.5 yards per carry. Maybe Gibbs and Montgomery have some tough sledding today. Lions 3.3 yards per carry. Saints 3.1 yards per carry, and the Baltimore Ravens only 2.7 yards per carry so far through 2 games. A little early to judge too much from that, but some teams are historically great against the run. Ravens, Steelers. Some teams are historically bad against the run. So, got a question. Jennifer's asking Ridley, Demarcus Robinson, Singletary, or Reed with Love out. I really like Demarcus Robinson. Since the day he joined the Rams, he immediately clicked in that offense. Believe Kupp was back even at that point. Nakua was looking great, and there was still targets available for Robinson. No Nakua, no Kupp today. The offensive line's banged up. The 49ers have actually been thrown on a fair amount. They're 10th in yards allowed, and they've allowed 4 touchdowns. That's tied for 5th. I would go Demarcus Robinson. I like that one. I was ready to roll with Reed. I really thought Love would play foolishly, but I'm going to go Demarcus Robinson on that one. Stafford's got to throw it to somebody. I don't think there's going to be much room to run for Kyron Williams or if we get a Blake Corum sighting, but I've started DeMarcus in a lot of leagues. Terrell Edmonds is out for the IDP leagues. Yeah, I thought we'd get some more active, inactive alerts around 11:30, but I think there's so many people have already been ruled out. The suspense has not been there. If you haven't checked in since last week, George Kittle's out, Taysom Hill is out, Joe Mixon is out, Evan Ingram is unlikely to play on Monday, and Michael Pittman is healthy, expected to play against the Bears. See which offense gets on track there. A lot of talent on both sides of the ball, but the offenses really haven't clicked as many have expected so far. Really curious to see if Anthony Richardson's passing game improves through his third start of this season. Good morning, Elliot. Zamir White, DeAndre Swift, or Rashad White in the flex, half PPR. Those are all pretty tempting. Zamir White against the Panthers feels like a smash and maybe a closer game than people are expecting. I think Andy Dalton's a little bit of an upgrade and can push the ball down the field. Rashad White hasn't done a lot lately, and I just don't know. That Chicago offense hasn't looked great. Swift specifically, um, I think the most talented player is White, and with Patrick Surtain most likely on Mike Evans for a majority of the game, I think I'd lean White. But if the Raiders are ahead, they may want to ice the game down with White. The Panthers are just so bad. Let's take a quick look at the Fantasyholics page where we have a fantasy points against page that highlights good starts or bad starts. The Panthers are the second best running back matchup. The Broncos are 11th and the Colts are 12th. And White had a lot of catches last year. I'm gonna start. Give me Zamir White. I trust the talent and the potential to catch passes. White a close second. Not really interested in Swift until the Bears figure out that whole offense. Jennifer asks, DJ Moore, Ford, or London? I'm not sure the question. I think if DJ Moore doesn't feast against the Colts today, it is a full-on panic for the Bears offense. There's no reason they should not throw all over the Colts today. The Colts have already been decimated by injuries. Josh Jacobs ran for 151 yards on them last week. Still gives me a little pause on DeAndre Swift, though. Jerome Ford played a lot, had a much better snap share last week. I don't know. I just don't think that Browns offense is good enough to trust almost anybody. I even pause on Amari Cooper. Watson just looks terrible. If I'm ranking these, I would go Moore, London, Ford, especially in PPR. Moore in London. Deontay Foreman had a significant role last week. He had 14 carries last week. So yeah, Moore, London, Ford, and until Jameis Winston is behind center for the Browns, I think I'm out on everybody. Check my own lineups, make sure I haven't missed out on anything, overlooked something. All right, so through 2 games, like I said, again, not a whole lot to draw off of, but we'll check some fantasy points against. Quarterback leading the way in points allowed. Commanders 24 a game. The Chiefs at 21 a game. Might lend you to have some faith in London and especially Kyle Pitts tonight. Rams third most fantasy points allowed to quarterbacks. Cardinals fourth and Bucks fifth. The opposite end of that spectrum. Fifth lowest Chicago Bears. Good luck, Anthony Richardson. We're all counting on you. Vikings 9.5 fantasy points per game to quarterback. Jets with 1 extra game have only allowed 9.3 points. Steelers, good luck, Justin Herbert, 7.3 points a game. And the Chargers, 6.4 points per game. Like I said earlier, smash the under on that Chargers Steelers game. Both are leading the league in fewest points allowed to quarterback, running back, yards allowed to quarterback, running back. Joshua Palmer's out. Yeah, that is going to be a low-scoring game. And let's go to running back fantasy points allowed through 2 games. Cowboys have allowed the most after that Alvin Kamara monster game that he has traditionally saved for late in the season, late, like right in your fantasy playoffs. Cowboys first. Panthers have allowed the second most fantasy points to running back. Rams third. Dolphins fourth, and Packers fifth. The five fewest fantasy points allowed through two games: Chiefs, Texans, Steelers, Lions, and Saints. About an hour till game time, about an hour till red zone starts for me here on the East Coast. Any more active, inactive alerts? Hello, Eric. Would you play Ferguson over Likely? Concerned about Ferguson? Yeah, I'm concerned about any player coming off an injury as fresh as that. Um, and I think that we all kind of got duped on the Isaiah Likely train. He had that amazing week one. He had a lousy-ish week two. He ran a lot of routes. He had some involvement, but it wasn't what everybody was hoping on. And I think that it got people on the wrong end of the chasing points train. I would go Likely today to get back on track. Um, his involvement in the offense was still positive. He just didn't get the, the luck, the catches, the just didn't go his way week two. But I still would like the safety net, so to speak, and Likely. I mean, God forbid Andrews has a hip flare up or he's getting up there in age. Let's check the Fantasy Holic site for tight end points allowed. Likely has played fantastic. He's such it's a hard talent to sit, and if say Andrews were to miss time, he may be Likely is probably a top 5 weekly tight end. Let's see. Fantasy points allowed. They're playing each other. Ravens have allowed 9 fantasy points a game. The Cowboys 4.5. I'm a cautious guy. Give me Likely over Ferguson this week. I think this is the week where people that bought Likely after the week one, started in week two, got mad. They're going to bench him this week, and that's where they're wrong. This is the Likely bounce back week. Naylor or JSN for my flex in a 14-team league? You've got to trust the talent of JSN. He had a monster week last week. But my fear is the Seahawks may not have to throw that much against Miami. I would lean talent and the hot hand in JSN. I'd much rather have JSN in my lineup and get a goose egg than a relative unknown of Naylor going off on my bench. That Texans defense is very solid too. This might be the Sam Darnold back down to earth game. I would go JSN. Cross my fingers that he has another great showing. That maybe the Dolphins keep it close. Maybe A-Chain runs all over Seattle. Brant's not here to give me the Seahawks lowdown, but I would go JSN there. Mercury Morris has passed away at 77, key member of that undefeated Dolphins team in 72. Might be some rally for the Dolphins today. Might be some good aura, some good mojo to have a great. Oh, it was a big Devon Achane game, even though their playing styles were completely different. So we'll go back to pick up where we left off on the fantasy points allowed to receivers so far through 2 games. Commanders, a whopping 36.7 points a game, which, I mean, like I said earlier, I'm afraid for starting players fresh off an injury like Jake Ferguson, but the T. Higgins spot right here is huge. You can flex them on Monday night. Monday night's the best time to flex somebody. If you've got Higgins, fire him up. Cross your fingers. Is the best matchup imaginable for him. Eagles have allowed 36.1 fantasy points a game. San Francisco, third in points allowed per game, which is why I'm on the DeMarcus Robinson train as much this week. Been a big fan of him since he's arrived in Los Angeles. Lions, third most fantasy points allowed to receiver, and Colts, fifth most at 27 points per game. I think that changes after this week. Colts are probably going to be top 3 in fantasy points allowed to receivers after this week. Monster DJ Moore game coming. 5 fewest teams allowing fantasy points to receiver: Bills, Seahawks, Titans, Chargers, and Broncos. Figure Patrick Surtain's going to be on Mike Evans quite a bit today. Big Chris Godwin game, and hopefully a nice Rachaad White game, bounce back game for him. And last, tight end. Fantasy points allowed to tight end might be a surprising team at the bottom of that list. The most fantasy points allowed to tight end is the Chiefs. If this isn't the Kyle Pitts game, I don't know what will be. It might be time to sell your Kyle Pitts shares. Panthers, second most points allowed to tight end. Rams, third. Vikings, fourth. And Ravens, fifth. Of course, after I said start likely, still start likely over Ferguson. Start likely. It's a good spot for likely. Bottom 5 teams in points allowed to tight end: Texans, Jaguars, 49ers, Titans, and the Washington Commanders have allowed 1 reception for 5 yards to a tight end through 2 weeks. So I don't know if that means that they're a no-fly zone against tight ends, but that's just how it's worked out through 2 games. 1 catch for 5 yards in 2 weeks. They played Cade Otton week 1 and the Giants week 2. I'd like to think the Giants were through to some tight end. Come on, Daniel Bellinger. Come on. Come on. jump on the Fantasy Holics Facebook here and answer a question or two if one hasn't been answered yet. Sean asks, Jalen Reed or Higgins at flex? No, gotta go Higgins. Gotta roll Higgins, especially with no Jordan Love, even in the Malik Willis revenge game. I'm going Higgins there. The upside, the potential is just too great. Jonathan unfortunately asks, PPR going to start two, Christian Kirk, Deontay Johnson, or Tyler Lockett? Man, I don't know what's going on with Christian Kirk or the Jaguars or Trevor Lawrence or just, I mean, I'm tempted to roll the dice on Andy Dalton and the Panthers with Deontay Johnson. Give me Deontay and Lockett. It's crazy that through 2 weeks of the NFL season, we're already faced with these questions of Mike Gesicki and Carson Steele and players that weren't on our radar. Gosh, yeah, I would go Deontay and Tyler Lockett. Christian Kirk has been invisible through 2 weeks. And that's hard to say with Gabe Davis on your team, with one of the most invisible receivers in the league. I think Brian Thomas Jr. has just been so good. No reason to look anywhere else. Fat Boy Bo, home alone, making some good food, asks London or Brian Robinson. Wow. That's like asking which of your kids is your favorite. Man, Robinson's been so good this year. And the Chiefs have been allowing a lot of points to, they were near the top points allowed to receiver and quarterback, if I remember correctly. Chiefs have allowed the second most points to quarterback. Kirk Cousins has some good mojo after last week, but it's tough. Is Bo going to go his receiver on his favorite team, or been a big Brian Robinson fan all season? Non-PPR, I'd probably go Robinson. Give me Brian Robinson. I'm going for it. Commanders keep it closer than people may think against the Bengals. I don't know. I think the Falcons can find success with Kyle Pitts and Bijan. And that's where the fantasy points are going to be. So give me B-Rob on that one. let's do a week 4 beat the waiver wire. If you still can add players in a league, let's check the schedule for next week. Let's answer this quick, gross question from Jeff Stark, Isicki, or Ertz. That's the state of 2023 fantasy football we're in. I just mentioned that the Commanders have only allowed 1 catch for 5 yards all year to tight ends. Ertz is the infinitely more talented player, and I'm starting Ertz in a few leagues. He's had a lot of involvement so far this year. A rookie quarterback's best friend, a talent like Ertz. Ben Sinnott has been non-existent. That was a big whiff on my part. I would go, and I like to think the Bengals are going to double down on Chase and Higgins, kind of a squeaky wheel game. Both of them need to get fed. Zach Moss is fine. Chase Brown's fine too. Give me Ertz. I think he has much more routes run, targets. Jaden Daniels looking his way. I would go Ertz on that one. Then for all we know, if the Commanders shut down Gesicki too, it is bench every tight end against the Commanders. Odd spot to be. So back to beat the waiver wire week 4. Noah Brown. I don't know why I'm putting so many eggs in the Commanders basket. Jaden Daniels has looked really good. Terry McLaurin's kind of getting on the same page. He had 8 targets last week. Zach Ertz has had a lot of targets. Brian Robinson is looking good. And if the Commanders defense keeps giving up as many points as they are, we saw it last year with Sam Howell. Sam Howell was leading the league in passing yards like week 10, very late in the year. All of the Commander pass catching options are going to be a good one. Noah Brown should be free in most leagues. I'm starting him, unfortunately, this week. Last week he had 3 catches for 56 yards. I think he played a lot. Noah Brown had a lot of big moments with the Texans. I think he had a good spot or 2 with the Cowboys a few years back. He's not just a random guy. He's got some talent. So Noah Brown's a nice beat the waiver wire. Week 4 ad. Got about 45 minutes left to game time. Any more questions on the page that need answering? Tyler asks, Jalen Warren, Chuba, or Samaje? I don't know how long you've been tuned in. That Chargers-Steelers game is going to be one of the lowest scoring games of the week. Both teams have allowed hardly anything, any fantasy points, any yards, quarterback, running back. Josh Palmer's out. I don't want anything. Both defenses are a great start. Samaje might be the more talented player. He's definitely a great pass blocker. He's a great receiving option out of the backfield, whereas Chuba Hubbard isn't as good of a pass catcher. So standard, I would go Chuba Hubbard, but half PPR or full point per reception, I'd go P. Ryan. we have a bigger track record on his ability, and that offense is solid. You only have Carson Steele to be afraid of really stealing touches from him. So Chuba in non-PPR, Samaje in any league that rewards 4 catches. Krana asks, which defense, Texans, Titans, Chargers, or Bengals? Man, the Titans are tempting with Malik Willis. He's just check down king. He'll throw for less than 100 yards. The Chargers game is going to be very low scoring. I definitely don't like Bengals or Texans. I think there's going to be too much offense in both of those games. I would go Titans followed by Chargers. Give me the Titans. Titans or Chargers. Also ask flex 3-point per reception. White, Spears, Robinson, Jawan Jennings, Isaiah Likely, or Shakir. I think Spears is nursing an ankle injury, and Tony Pollard's look great. That offensive line is good. Brian Callahan's calling great plays. I think Pollard has too much of a role. So no Spears, no Shakir. The Bills haven't needed to throw the ball at all. Josh Allen's running all over the place. James Cook's been amazing. I don't think Josh Allen's going to throw more than 15 to 20 times. Definitely Demarcus Robinson. Definitely Isaiah Likely. A lot of people are starting Jawan Jennings. He might have some of the worst hands in the NFL. He scares me quite a bit. But then again, the 49ers are down Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey. I guess you start the pass catchers. Give me Robinson, Jennings, and Likely. Not sure how many catches Zamir White's going to get. That could be the Alexander Madison role. It could be all Devontae Adams, all Brock Bowers. Yeah, Robinson, Jennings, Likely. Get thirsty. If you can prop bet on Jawan Jennings drops, 2, at least 2. At least 2 drops. Charlie asks, who's a better start at defense? Chiefs versus Atlanta. Oh, no. Oh, please, no. I think the Falcons are going to score plenty of points. The Sam Darnold experience has to end soon. The ghosts are coming. This first day of fall at September, no, second day of fall, those goblins are coming. I would go Texans over I don't know. I think the Falcons score. I think that over under for the Chiefs Falcons is one of the higher ones of the week. Ghosts are coming, Charlie. Those ghosts. Poor Sam Darnold. Thanks, Charlie. Love you too. About 40 minutes left. Yeah, 46.5 over under for Chiefs Falcons. Even primetime Kirk Cousins can overcome that. Well, Look at that. Commanders Bengals over under is 47 points. Vegas doesn't lose much. They know something. They know something. It's going to be a T. Higgins week. It's going to be Brian Robinson week. Ertz is going to eat a little bit. He's going to take a couple bites. Not going to finish at all. He might need a takeout box, but lowest. Oh, Carolina and Las Vegas is 40. The Chargers Steelers over under is 35.5. Might not even get that high. Right. So back to week 4, beat the waiver wire. Have any awesome defensive units that could be picked up? The Steelers play the Colts. If the Steelers are available, that's a good ad. The Cowboys play the Giants. The Cowboys are probably too universally owned. No good defensive teams. One from the page, Ashley says, I have Malik Neighbors in. Should I put in Dell or Pickens instead? No, please, no. No, please, no, Ashley. Please keep Malik Neighbors in. I would rather get a 2-catch, 10-yard day from Neighbors than just the upside. The talent is so good, even with Daniel Jones. What happens when they get Shadir Sanders next year? Or even Tommy DeVito later this year? Mark asks, Kyler Murray or Baker Mayfield in a PPR league, but quarterbacks do not catch passes. It's a tough one. Both have been great. Let's check some fantasy stats from the Fantasy Holics page. Quarterback matchup. The Lions passing defense has been rough. You know the Lions are going to put up a lot. I'm going to go Kyler Murray there. The Lions Cardinals game should be much more of a shootout than the Bucks Broncos. Probably just a steady dose of Rashad White and Chris Godwin. I don't think. I mean, Baker may not even get 225 yards. I would take Kyler Murray on that one. Brant asks, Najee Etienne, Connor, Steele, or London need a running back and a flex. Those are all tough calls. I don't like Najee. I don't like any fantasy relevant player in that Chargers Steelers game. Etienne's been great. Lions run defense is tough, but Connor has so much passing upside. Steele's an unknown. I would go Etienne and London. Only James Conner might get a lot of pass catching work, but I think Kyler's pushing the ball down the field more than James Conner's going to be running the ball. So give me Etienne and London there. Justin asks, have to pick two, Jawan Jennings, Demarcus Robinson, or Khalil Shakir. Yep, no Shakir. I don't think the Bills need to throw, want to throw. It's going to be a lot of Josh Allen, a lot of James Cook. Um, Bills haven't thrown much at all this year. They had to keep up and beat Arizona week 1, but they didn't have to throw it all last week once Tua was injured. I'm going to go Jennings Robinson. Achane or Kyron standard scoring. I don't like. Oh man, Achane looked tremendous last week. There's no Tua, obviously. There's no Raheem Mostert. I think that they will lean on Achane. Achane looked really good on a lot of carries last week. I think he had 18, 19 carries. I would go Achane. He's just electric. Once the ball's in his hands, he's almost like an Alvin Kamara, like shifting explosiveness. I would go Achane. Um, the Rams offense kind of sputtering. The offensive line's hurt. No Cup, no Nakua. Yeah, even though the Dolphins offense is hurt too. Give me Achane there. 30 minutes till game time for the 1 o'clock slate. Pray for no injuries this week. Man, we didn't even get to enjoy the players we drafted for that long. Prescott or Darnold? Uh, I Sam Darnold's played great. He's one of the best stories of the year so far, but it can't continue. I know the Ravens defense is stout, but they're stout against the run. They haven't been great against the pass, and the Dallas backfield is just. Oof. Um, yeah, I would go Dak there. They'll have to throw. Um, could be a higher scoring game than people might think. Also, I think this has to be the Derrick Henry game. This has to be a 98-yard run, stiff arm straight to hell Derrick Henry game. Um, give me Dak there. I think if I remember, isn't the um, Cowboys run defense worst in the league? It's going to be a should be a lot of Derrick Henry. Dak's going to have to throw to keep up. Dallas will not be able to run the ball whatsoever. Give me Dak. Thank you. From the website, Brian asks, Standard League, Purdy or Jaden Daniel, oh my lord, and Jahmyr Gibbs or B-Rob. Oof, that's tough. Give me Daniels for the rushing upside, and it's so hard to sit Jahmyr Gibbs. So I would go Daniels, Gibbs. You've got everything you could want from fantasy players: rushing upside from your quarterback and pass catching options from your receiver. Tony asks, Odunze or Quentin Johnson off? Give me Odunze. I have a list of reasons why I would not pick Quentin Johnson. I don't think he's that good. I think his success this year has been a little fluky. He still has some of the worst hands in the league. Low scoring game between the Chargers and the Steelers. Justin Herbert can have the foot or ankle injury flare up at any moment, and Odunze is going against a pitiful Colts defense. Caleb Williams seems to be 100% healthy. One of these days they have to turn him loose. I would go no Keenan Allen this week. DeAndre Swift hasn't been able to run very effectively so far. Odunze by a lot for me on that one. About 20 minutes. Rosters are going to start locking about 12:45, 12:50. If you're just checking in this week, players out: Joe Mixon, Keenan Allen, Taysom Hill, Jordan Love, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle. T. Higgins is playing. T. Higgins is active. Evan Ingram looks doubtful. Do not trust. Do not use Evan Ingram. Even if he is active on Monday, I'd pivot from that very easily. Hopefully don't have any last minute inactives like we did with Ingram last week. Jason asks, Pittman banged up or Pierce PPR? Oh my goodness. I don't know if Anthony Richardson completes 15 passes in this game. I guess you're going to get the home run threat with Pierce. Pierce is going to be 2 catches, 95 yards. They're going to be, he's so hit or miss. I would hate to see Pittman leave the game early with an injury. It just flared up late this week. The Bears pass defense has been very strong. If I remember correctly, Bears are pretty tough against the receiver, and they haven't faced a quarterback like Richardson yet. Bears are stingy against both. Do you have any other options? Give me Pittman. He should get he's going to get more points on more catches, but Pierce is going to be the home run threat of 1 to 3 catches, 120 yards and a touchdown. Give me Pittman. Tony asks, Montgomery, Jaden Reed, Shaheed, T. Higgins, or Worthy? Pick one. No Jordan Reed. No thanks. And no Worthy. I think your choices are Higgins against a horrible pass defense, Shaheed against a horrible pass defense, and Montgomery has been very solid against. I think the Cardinals are one of the easier teams to run on. Let's double check. Cardinals pass defense is all right. If it is non-PPR, I would go Montgomery, half point Shaheed, and full point Higgins. No reader worthy though. PPR, give me Higgins. Yeah, Rashid's gonna get a lot of yards, but on probably 3 to 5 targets. Give me T Higgins and hope that he makes it through a full game. Kevin Azamir White, Xavier Worthy, George Pickens for the flex. Oh, no Steelers, no Chargers this week, please. For the flex, Worthy has some nice upside, but the Falcons have been playing some solid football. Flex. Flex is your like ceiling guy. Give me Xavier Worthy in the flex. Oh, you have Chase starting on the same team, then full PPR. Oh man, because Shaheed's not going to get a lot of Shaheed and Worthy aren't going to get a lot of catch. Give me you go David, go Monty, and hope that he finds the end zone. He gets the red zone work, whereas Gibbs is getting the passing game work. Go Montgomery there, Tony. Am I dropping Zamir White if he's still a dud this week? No. Starting running backs are very hard to find at this point. Trade him. Someone might be extremely desperate. Someone may have already lost Mostert and McCaffrey, or they've lost Joe Mixon, or they've lost hold or trade. No, I'm not dropping any starting running back at this point in the landscape of the NFL. Have Naylor from the Vikings. I don't know. This Naylor feels like a huge risk. No, I'd rather lose with Pittman in my lineup than on my. I don't know. What can we take from Jalen Naylor so far? Kevin asks, have to get rid of a QB after this week. Who are you dropping between? Why do you have to get rid of them? Can you IR Jordan Love or trade Anthony Richardson for someone that loves mobile quarterbacks and rushing upside? I would like a keep trade cut here. Whoever has the, I'm keeping Dak. I don't want to roll the dice with Love's ankle injury that they originally said he might be out for the season. Then it was 4 to 6 weeks. Then he might play after missing 1 week. I can't IR Love or trade Richardson. That's a tough one. Good luck on. Let us know how that works out. Give us an update next week. After this week, do you have to get rid of them by the time waivers run or by next Thursday? You can't get rid of Dak before he plays the Giants next Thursday. And Richardson gets the Steelers next week. And if Love isn't back, he might not have a quarterback. And trade Richardson now before he gets the Steelers next week. That would be Richardson's fourth game, and Richardson only made it through 4 games last season. Please say healthy, dude. Please. What is 12:45? Our rosters locking? Maybe it's 12:55. Oh, another beat the waiver wire. Maybe Josh Reynolds. He's looked really good. One of the bright points for Denver so far. Bo Nix has been okay. He's faced some tough defenses. Josh Reynolds has already made a pretty good mark there in Denver. Who else? Oh, Braylon Allen is a must add. God forbid something happens to Breece Hall. Braylon Allen looks awesome. Awesome. He's already had standalone value the last 2 weeks. Braylon Allen, total, absolute, beat the waiver wire week 4. No, he's already played. I would definitely put in a request for Allen, Braylon Allen, headed to next week. All right, about 10 minutes left. Check my lineups. Make sure I didn't overlook anything. If you haven't already logged into your Underdog account this morning, hit up the page and get some of Lord Gambler's predictions this week, and make sure you use hashtag Holics for up to $1,000 on your first deposit. All right, 5 more minutes. Maybe we'll last minute question from the page. Looks like we got everything answered this morning. Hopefully we can make it through a week without any injury. Got 2 Monday night games. I don't know why they put Monday nights on at the same time. I could understand an East Coast and a West Coast, but we've got Jaguars and Bills and Commanders and Bengals Monday night. Those are, if you can flex those Monday night games, that's the time to do it. Yeah, the Bengals Commanders could be a shootout. Could be a sneaky shootout this week. Hopefully T. Higgins can play a full game. Get right there. I need Joe Burrow to pick it up from my Scott Fishbowl team. Struggling there. He hasn't looked great. His wrist doesn't look great. Not on the same page with Jamar Chase. Hopefully it's a get right game for the Bengals offense, and a very exciting game to see Jaden Daniels on prime time for the first time. Another beat the waiver, Jordan Whittington. How rostered is he? Rams receiver Jordan Whittington would be probably already gone. I'm probably a week late on. No, he's only 7.9% rostered per Yahoo. And what does Sleeper have Jordan Whittington at? Only 17%. Yeah, Jordan Whittington would be a great ad going forward. God forbid something happens to Marcus Robinson or Kyron Williams. I mean, the way the injury bug's been biting. Jordan Whittington's a great ad. Maybe Brenton Strange, if he has another good week. I was very surprised at his involvement in just his first start. He was involved more than Evan Ingram. So Brenton Strange, if you need a tight end, if you even care about tight end anymore, you might just leave the position blank and get a 0 and be fine with it at this point. All right, everybody, it's 12:55. Rosters are locking. Was fun leading you up to game time. Good luck this week, and hopefully get a co-host on next week, so there's not so much dead air and me just flapping my gums. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for your questions all morning, and stay tuned to Fantasy Holics for the rest of the week. Have a good one.